Hello everyone, my name is Rob Burgio and today we are talking about Fringe. Not only any fringe, we are talking about the extremely usable elongated side fringe from short to long. Some people like to call this a side swept fringe as well, but I call it the elongated side fringe. And the first thing we're going to do is section out her fringe and talk about the depth of it as well and show you how we establish that depth and the sectioning, and then we will cut her on wet hair and then dry it so you can see the finished result. Okay, we have our model ready to go, and she is willing and able. That's right, there she is. She's gorgeous. We can call her Sally. Sally is ready to go. She wants a little bit of change. She always goes to one side, but it's always heavier on the side that she parts it to. So we're going to give her an elongated side fringe that's a bit layered as well, so it has a ton of movement. All right, the first thing we're going to do is let's establish where her fringe is and how thick it should be. So we already saturated her hair well with our water bottle, and let's first establish, we know that Sally parts her hair on the right side. So we are just going to comb her hair back wherever she parts it, somewhere around here. From there, we will then just take our hand and just gently push it forward until you see a breakup of hair. Usually you'll find out somewhere pretty close where it is from there. And I think we'll utilize this area right here and go for it right here. From this point, then the next question is, well, how far back should it go? You know, what should the depth be? Should it be thin? Should it be thick? Well, 99% of the time I utilize my comb. And you can see I just lay the comb parallel to the parting, directly where the parting is, and wherever the comb meets a scalp is my starting point. So we have our starting point right here. From there, we're going to carve out a section to the opposite eye corner. So we have our starting point. We're now carving out our section to the opposite corner of the eye. So you can see we're just carving that out right here, and boom, we have our nice triangular section. We can double check this. Again, what we did is we used our comb. We found out where the depth is. From there, we're carving out a section to the opposite corner of her eye. And then we could clean up this section a bit. We have our starting point, and there it is right there. Now, this is a starting point. And if Sally doesn't like her fringe or bangs this thick, then we could absolutely make it a little bit less heavy by taking a less denser of a section. So we will take Sally and we are going to minimize this area just a bit. So now we have a really nice triangular section that you can see right here. So this will be our area that we work on. From this point here, let's section off everything else and just completely pin it out of the way. Let's try to use organized, nice, clean, groomed sections to do so. And I like to utilize clips as well. So we are just going to comb the rest of this hair and get it out of our way so we don't have to worry anything about this. Nice, clean sections out of the way. Opposite side, we will work through. And we'll take the opposite side of hair. Again, and just do the same thing. We're going to clean everything up nicely for her. Sally is so ready for this change that she's going to be pretty happy. Okay, once we get that out of the way, then we'll just organize that a bit, grab a clip, and clip it out of our life. Fantastic. Now we have our nice triangular section, again, completely ready to go. We established the depth. So now, what else we're going to do? We are going to create a guide. The first thing we're going to do is create a stationary guide. Okay, I'm going to bring her sideways. So we're going to take a section parallel to her part, which is right here. From there, I am going to just take a section parallel to the part. So here's a section where her parting is. And now we are going to comb it straight out from the head. Straight out from the head. And we are looking for a square cutting line. Now before we cut this line, let's establish how short do we want to go. Just think about it. Before you start cutting this, where is this going to lay? If we cut it right here, then it's going to probably jump up a little bit and start her shortest part of this fringe right about here. So this is a good indication to just take a deep breath, stop, analyze the situation. Does she have any colics? Does she have movement here? What type of curl pattern does she have, etc.? And establish how long or how short you want this to be. So we're going to take this a little bit shorter, but we don't want it super, super short either. Again, we're pulling it straight out from the head, and we are going to cut a square cutting line, square against the section. Here's our square cutting line. We are going to bring this right about here and just cut a nice, clean cutting line. From there, we know our starting point of this fringe is going to be somewhere around here. So I think that's fine to start with right now. So now that we established our stationary guide, we will then grab a new section parallel to the part as well. But this time we are going to over direct everything to our stationary guide, right? So we are now over directing. Comb the hair to the direction that you want the hair to move. Comb the hair straight out. Didn't have too much of a section here, but you can see the guide is right here. So we are going to cut that right off. And we're going to continue taking another section parallel to the part, over directing to our stationary guide that we created, combing the hair to the direction we want to over direct it to, and then combing it straight out from the head. And you can see a nice clean guide right here. And we are just going to continue to cut a square cutting line. We have about 2 more sections to go, and the exact same thing. Take another section parallel to the part, over direct it to your stationary guide, and as the section becomes thicker, I'll switch into to a little more space between the teeth. And then I'm combing straight out. You can clearly see that guide, and we are cutting a square cutting line. Now, what does it do? Why would we choose to cut this square cutting line this way? And you can see I'm also working palm to palm as well. You can go either way, but the square cutting line does a couple different things. So by utilizing this square cutting line, what we're doing is we're over directing, which is creating short to long. But not only that, we are also layering this whole top heavy area right in here that usually gets so heavy on their heavy side. So what we're doing is we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, basically, aren't we? So we are over directing to create short to longer, but we're also cutting a square cutting line by layering that entire top area, so it's has much more movement and it's less heavy. So we'll take our last section. That'll probably go to the side, or we can just grab all of it. Why not? And then there's our last section, square cutting line. So You could see already just by combing this into that direction how nice and easy and what a nice flow it has going into that direction. Already, it removed a ton of weight from the top and it already just wants to naturally push itself over to the opposite area. Everybody with me? Fantastic. I'm going to dry this and we'll take a look at it from there. Okay, we are back, everybody. You can see I just blew dry this part here, so you can see how nice of a flow. It just wants to naturally push over to the side. It removed a ton of weight, and that's with using no product whatsoever. If you want to use a little product just so you can see it get pushed even more, I'd like to use my favorite Dry Boost Creative Texture. Love this stuff. Little goes a long way. Again, this does a few different things. Protects your hair up to 392 degrees. It also gives you a nice little texture. And it's also just a nice finishing tool. Or next day even. It's so light and airy. But you can see what a nice flow it has. Just pushed over, and I'll show you the side angle. And there we have it. Elongated side fringe. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching it, and I'll see you soon.